So much has been said about Yu Menglong. Countless analysis videos, thousands of comments, and millions of unanswered questions. And yet, the deeper people dig, the more unsettling one realization becomes. The silence surrounding his death isn't fading, it's getting thicker, heavier, and harder to ignore. 2 months have passed, but the atmosphere around his case still feels suffocated, as if covered by a dense layer of fog. Information appears briefly and vanishes. Posts get deleted at a pace that makes no sense. Discussions are muted. Everything feels like an invisible hand is trying to flatten the surface of the water, while beneath it, the currents churn violently. The more people listen to the whispers behind the scenes, the more they sense that what happened to Yu Menglong is not just a personal tragedy. It feels like the tip of a long, deep iceberg that has existed in the entertainment industry for far too long. Just when the public begins to grow exhausted from waiting for answers, an unexpected voice emerges, not from the police, not from mainstream media, but from someone who does not belong to the rational world at all, the psychic Sloan Bella. And the first thing she said was not who's right or wrong, nor was it a prediction or mystical spell. It was a sentence so cold that it stopped many people in their tracks. Do not worship any celebrity so easily. That single line opened another door. A door into the world of energy, karma, unseen forces, and spiritual warfare that most of us have never even heard of. It didn't explain Yu Menglong's death. Instead, it raised a far bigger question. If the truth has been hidden in the dark, then who put it there? According to spiritual analyst Dai Wu, every time a young person worships a celebrity to an extreme degree, beyond admiration into blind devotion, they are unconsciously channeling their life energy into a system behind that celebrity. A system whose operators and purposes remain completely unknown. And sometimes Sloan says, the forces behind the spotlight are not just money or earthly power, but something far more metaphysical. Entities trapped between layers of reality. Invisible contracts no ordinary human eyes can perceive. Souls positioned like chess pieces, arranged to guide the masses toward a specific frequency. From that warning, Sloan began diving into the case that shook all of Asia. Yu Menglong, the beloved actor-singer who died suddenly on September 11, 2025, in Beijing. Official statements said he had been drinking, fell from a building, and showed no signs of foul play. A simple accident under the influence of alcohol. But for those who believe in an unseen battleground, the story doesn't end there. The invisible chessboard surrounding Yu Menglong. According to Sloan, Yu Menglong's death wasn't an isolated moment. It was the overflow of a cup that had been filling for a very long time. She said that when she connected to his energy field, the first thing she heard from him was, "They treated me like trash. When they were done with me, they threw me away." Just one sentence, but it paints an entire world of cruelty behind the curtains. A star lifted high, only to be drained until empty. A person reduced to a prop used, then discarded. Sloan believes Yu Menglong's soul did not accidentally end up in the entertainment industry. In her spiritual reading, he had been watched for 5 lifetimes. The goal was to bind him from the root, even before birth. She claimed Yu Menglong was placed into his mother's womb intentionally, like a chess piece positioned exactly where it needed to be. The beings watching him were not ordinary spirits, but stuck players, entities unable to ascend to higher realms, drifting through an intermediate graveyard of souls. These entities, as Sloan describes them, cannot sustain themselves independently, so they tend to draw influence from individuals with strong emotional presence, especially those who naturally attract large audiences. In Sloan's view, Yu Menglong was a perfect energy amplifier. Handsome, gentle, with the ideal ancient drama leading man look. Famous through massive series like Go Princess Go and Eternal Love. Adored by tens of millions of fans. Every scream, tear, share, and heated debate about him, Sloan believes, created streams of energy flowing into a single socket, and that socket wasn't always his. From the energetic plane, Sloan claimed she saw a chain of bindings stretching across Yu Menglong's entire bloodline. She believed his lineage was far from ordinary, that his soul was connected to a blood frequency involved in major political schemes, tied to hidden forces and agendas far beyond public awareness. There is no physical evidence to support this, and this video does not assert any of it as fact. It is simply recounting a spiritual perspective that some believe and others question. According to Sloan, this is why Yu Menglong's life always felt pre-scripted. He rose to fame quickly, yet was closely controlled. Every relationship, career choice, and public image seemed to follow a predetermined pattern. On a spiritual level, she said, he was not just a celebrity, he was a public puppet, a figure placed in front of the camera to influence aesthetics, emotions, and even how the public perceives sensitive issues. From around 2020 onward, Yu Menglong was often portrayed by the media as a humble figure teaching in rural areas, doing charity work, living simply, and spending time with children. In the eyes of fans, this was admirable, a star stepping away from fame to reconnect with ordinary life and help others. But on the energetic level, Sloan described a very different picture. This was not mere charity work, but a form of psychological isolation designed to separate him from old habits and relationships. She said he wasn't fully free to travel. Every schedule was monitored. Even the children he bonded with became part of a controlled environment. Among these fragmented visions was one haunting detail. At one point, Yu Menglong abruptly stopped eating, as if he no longer trusted what was being placed in front of him. Some extreme interpretations suggested he realized he was being pushed into a darker ritual of consumption, where eating symbolically represented absorbing the pain or fate of others. None of this can be verified, but the mere image of a rising star, suddenly refusing the meals prepared for him, is chilling on its own. According to accounts, in the classroom where he once taught, the children he considered friends, even like younger siblings, began disappearing one by one, without explanation and without goodbyes. In Sloan's view, this was a form of psychological torture, a reminder that anything he cherished could be taken away if he did not obey. Yu Menglong died on September 11, 2025, after falling from a building in Beijing while under the influence of alcohol, reportedly after meeting with friends. Official reports stated there was no sign of criminal activity and labeled the death an accident. But for those who believe in symbolism and frequency, the date 9/11 is not random. It echoes September 11, 2001, the attacks in the United States that reshaped global politics. According to Sloan, the forces behind Yu's death wanted to anchor it to the same symbolic field as 9/11's, turning it into an energetic marker, a young star beloved across Asia, falling on a date representing the downfall of a global superpower. Again, there is no concrete evidence supporting this. It is entirely a spiritual interpretation, and everyone is free to believe or dismiss it. But the timing, too striking to ignore, has led many to question whether it was really just coincidence. The final party, an energy contract, or just a tragedy. During the fateful gathering on the night he died, it was reported that he had consumed a large amount of alcohol before falling from a window. The media emphasized alcohol, the window, and the absence of any signs of foul play. But in Sloan's account, that night was not a simple party, it was a ritual. She described him being pushed into his weakest state, exhausted, intoxicated, and isolated. Around him were eyes he could not trust, people playing roles he could not decipher. The intention that night was not about personal misconduct or coercion, but rather to pressure him into accepting a kind of symbolic, energetic mark. This imprint, according to her, was tied to his bloodline and his nation, like a curse layered onto his karma, connected to a period of turmoil predicted to unfold between 2028 and 2030, involving major changes in China and the global order. Whether one believes it or not, the emotional weight of her description leads to a simple truth. Yu Menglong was never just a celebrity. He was a human being caught at the crossroads of countless pressures, from his work, from public expectations, and from forces far beyond what any of us can see. When the Sky Speaks, predictions from astrologer Jingdui. It has been more than 2 months since the mysterious death of Yu Menglong, yet the truth remains completely concealed. Rumors, theories, and analyses continue to multiply, but they are all still speculation, nothing more. There is no independent investigation report, no full surveillance footage, and no official explanation capable of reassuring those who genuinely care. Meanwhile, mainstream media in China has tightened its grip on coverage. Keywords related to Yu Menglong are reportedly restricted. Posts are deleted, and comment sections are heavily censored. Naturally, people have begun to ask, if it truly was just a drunk fall accident, then why must everything be hidden so thoroughly? In this atmosphere of silence and confusion, an unexpected perspective quietly emerges, not from investigators, but from the sky itself. Recently, Jingdui, a well-known Vedic astrologer within the Chinese-speaking community, shared her observations regarding the period following Yu Menglong's death. She said that beginning on November 10th, the rhythm of the heavens is being rewritten. Mercury enters retrograde in Scorpio. The sun slowly moves into Scorpio's energy field, the domain of secrets, death, rebirth, and buried truths. Around November 20th, the sun, moon, Mars, and retrograde Mercury converge in Scorpio, creating what she calls the critical energetic threshold of the entire month. According to astrological interpretation, when these 4 forces align, the celestial landscape enters a turning point. The world steps into a moment of collective awakening. Long-hidden truths begin to tremble, and systems of power in politics, business, and entertainment start to crack in places no one expected. By November 26th, Venus leaves Libra and plunges into Scorpio's shadow. At that moment, the Sun, Mars, and Venus share the same sign, forming the most intense field of love and fury in the entire year. In simple terms, the surface may appear calm, but beneath it, a violent undercurrent is swirling. One by one, illusions and buried realities will be exposed under Scorpio's light. According to Jingdui, during this period, the unspoken rules of the entertainment world, politics, and global finance will begin revealing themselves piece by piece. Public idols may collapse overnight, vanishing from screens without explanation. And stories that everyone knew but never dared to say aloud will slowly rise to the surface. Returning to Yu Menglong's case, astrologer Jingdui believes that the truth behind his death cannot emerge immediately, but the events, testimonies, documents, and hidden movements connected to it are already shifting beneath the surface. In her prediction, the spring of 2026 may mark the moment when the gate of time opens, when destiny returns a measure of justice to Yu Menglong, or at the very least, plants the seeds of a major cleansing within the Chinese entertainment industry. This does not necessarily mean an earth-shaking uprising. It could simply mean scandals being exposed, unfair contracts brought into the light, individuals once considered irrelevant suddenly being named, and those who had been buried in silence being spoken of again. According to her, this would be only the beginning, a small but crucial step that allows Chinese society to finally look directly at the shadows it has long been forced to avoid. To grasp why her words shook so many people, we first need to know who she is. Jingdui is no stranger to those who follow astrology in the Chinese-speaking world. She is known as Taiwan's Vedic astrology master, and is the first to attempt a 3-in-1 combination of Indian Vedic astrology, Chinese Zai Wei Do Shu, and Western Tarot. She also holds emotional therapy certifications in both the United States and China. Her followers believe she accurately predicted several natural disasters, including the Hualien earthquake, which is why every word she utters about Yu Menglong attracts enormous attention. Around October 15th, shortly after Yu's passing, she wrote a long memorial on Facebook. It was not merely a condolence message, but a eulogy, a farewell to a soul she believed had come to this world to shoulder part of the era's karma. Summarizing her words, she wrote that when the tears had dried and the heart had finally cracked open, all she wanted was to light a small lamp for him in the softest corner of her heart. She described him as a gentle soul, pure as jade. Someone with the elegance and reason of a Libra, yet the intuition and depth of a tarot high priestess. Outwardly, he was like a soft breeze, but inwardly, he possessed unwavering conviction, always believing in justice and fairness. She mentioned how Yu Menglong cared little for money, but cared deeply for people. He was willing to tighten his own belt to help others, shouldering pressure and loneliness that most people could never imagine. In front of the camera, his clothes grew looser, the wounds on his body multiplied, and his eyes turned red, yet as clean. Refined aura remained intact until the very end. The sadness in his gaze, she wrote, was like a shattered poem. In an industry filled with vanity, he was a rarity, someone who fought to preserve independence and compassion in a world dominated by interests and manipulation. A soul so sensitive and pure, longing for genuine connection, yet repeatedly betrayed and used. 37 years of life, short yet endless, she wrote. He used his shattered body to carve the shape of love and courage. In her view, his death was not a final full stop, but a comma in the story of his soul. Perhaps this was merely the farewell ritual he had arranged long ago. Perhaps he came to turn tears into diamonds, to awaken and purify. She wished for his soul to remain eternal, to cross the storms and return to the light. And even if the world forgets him, she wrote, the wind will still remember his name, and the light will speak on his behalf. In an age where truth is easily drowned and rumors flow freely, many of us cannot help feeling powerless, uncertain whether to trust official reports or the fragmented accounts scattered across the internet. Unsure whether astrological interpretations are spiritual comfort or yet another veil of fog over the case. But Li Jingdui offered one gentle yet profound reminder. As long as we keep honesty and compassion in our hearts, time will eventually answer for us. We may not have the power to open investigation files, access surveillance footage, or step into the rooms where real decisions are made. But we can do something small, something that still matters. Continue to speak Yu Menglong's name with respect. Continue to question the points that remain unclear, and refuse to turn his death into mockery or cheap entertainment. Let us, for Yu Menglong and for all those who vanished in silence, light a small candle within ourselves, so that whenever the darkness tries to swallow the truth, there will always be quiet flame somewhere, speaking for them and holding space for the day when the truth, however late, must finally appear.